Hey there, guys. It's Mike Goldstein with Crushing It with Kitchen Remodeling Podcast. We're back with yet another episode today, and we are so lucky. We have with us possibly the number one, and I mean this, not number two, not number three, the number one rated press release to SEO based developer, contractor, whatever you want to call them in the world today. We have with us Lane Houk. This guy has figured out the way to take press releases and to leverage them in such a way to generate massive local SEO and even enterprise level SEO wins for that. And we're going to talk with Lane all about that just after this.
Are you looking for some fresh ideas to jumpstart your kitchen remodeling business? Welcome to the Crushing It with Kitchen Remodeling Podcast. Your host, Michael Goldstein, founder of Kitchen Remodeling SEO, the digital marketing agency working exclusively with kitchen remodeling contractors. And also, the author of the Ultimate Internet Marketing Guide for kitchen remodeling contractors, will provide insights on proven tips and strategies from top experts in this space so that you can take advantage of industry best practices. Your host, Michael Goldstein. Join Mike as he shares his knowledge each week with an insightful interview or educational segment about how to turn your online marketing efforts into more kitchen remodeling leads and sales opportunities than ever before.
And we're back. So we're going to bring in with us right now, Lane Houk. Hey, Lane, how are you?
Hey, great, Michael. How are you?
I'm fantastic. We're so excited to have you on here. We've been talking about this with our listeners for the last two shows. How we were going to have the premier press release to SEO expert on the globe, Lane. How he's going to show up and he's going to talk to us all about how we can leverage this and how we can see even better SEO results. But for those people who are trying the DIY method themselves, of course, we work with plenty of kitchen remodelers, cabinet companies, who work with us. And we actually have worked with you, Lane, for a number of years using some software that you've created. But for people who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit who the heck you are and what it is that you do.
Well, all right. Awesome. Thank you. Well, I appreciate you having me on. A little bit about me. I'm a husband of 25 years, a dad of two boys who are 20 and 22. And so that's a little bit about me personally. Love to fish and hunt and be in the outdoors, do four-wheeling, things like that. So I do enjoy things when I get away from work. On the work side, I cut my teeth starting back in 2010 with a web and SEO agency. I built that into a seven-figure agency, and throughout the process, SEO was our main solution, the main thing that we provided to our clients who are businesses, like how you serve them today. And SEO really was the number one thing that always helped businesses get the most leads, help them really build their business. So I really dialed in and focused in on SEO. And it was very manual and very, I would say, even unpredictable in the early years as I was trying to figure it all out. And I very quickly kind of gravitated towards the study that was coming out, started in 2008. So it was even predated me starting my agency. But this Moz local ranking factors and organic ranking factors study that they started putting out. And so I kind of latched onto that and dug into that. And we started kind of looking for ways to generate signals in different categories that Moz was kind of teaching. And it made sense as I dug into the algorithm and researched that. It sure made sense that the bot was just looking for signals. So, we were trying to just do all this manually, though, in terms of in our own agency. And so in 2017, Matt, my business partner, and I got to work on developing a software solution that would basically take our SEO strategy of generating ranking signals on a regular monthly basis, and our strategies around content syndication, which was really just rooted in the best practice. Google loves to, and users love quality content. And so we would take quality content and then just syndicate and distribute that content everywhere we could get it. And a part of that strategy we started probably, I'd say in 2013 or 2014 was press releases. And as I started to use press releases as part of our overall content syndication strategy, I did notice some things that I thought were fundamentally wrong from an SEO standpoint, because really the PR industry predates, the online world, the digital world. And so I think, I know that, the entire PR world, the traditional PR world, just looks at it from a traditional PR standpoint. And so, we developed software called Signal Genesis to solve our own problem in our own agency, but we strategically decided in the very beginning to develop our software for the agency, for the industry. So we knew that if we were solving our own problem in our own agency, we would actually end up solving an industry problem as well. And so Signal Genesis is our software. I'm a co-founder with Matt, my business partner. And today we have well over 1,000 agencies that are using our software for tens of thousands of businesses that they serve in their various efforts to help them enhance their reputation, build and get better SEO outcomes, deliver more tangible value to their business clients and what have you. So that's a very quick synopsis of me in the business world and who I am, kind of where we arrive at today.
That's awesome. And I can attest, our agency, Kitchen Remodeling SEO, has been a user of the program for almost 3 years now. And the benefit that we see is monumental. The benefit that our clients see, and in terms of helping them rank. And one of the things that we love to do, from an SEO standpoint, is we take a featured blog post, 1,000-word blog post, then rewrite that blog post as a press release, so that media outlets, authority sites pick it up, and they'll start, you can now generate links. You can have signals that Google's picking up, that GMB, now GBP sees, and all of that. But Lane, one of the things that I find is challenging, and our clients ask this all the time. So let me put it to you is, when you're a service company like a kitchen remodeler or a cabinet builder, you're not involved in major newsworthy events on a day-to-day basis. So how do you go about finding those newsworthy events, those topics to cover, so that your PR actually gets picked up?
Well, so the underlying premise of press releases and news is that news outlets, journalists, whoever it might be, anybody who might want to pick up and publish content is, number one, they're looking for the same thing that Google's looking for. You're looking for helpful content. Okay. So if you're a news outlet anywhere in the country, if you've got helpful content around a topic of expertise, then you're already a candidate for getting picked up. That's just one particular, a swing at bat. The second one is that journalists are always looking for experts. Like, that's who they always are looking for, right? Is who's the experts out there on whatever topic it might be. And so news outlets, media outlets, magazines, digital journals, that world has really exploded over the last 5 years, especially. Much like the listing ecosystem exploded, between 2010 and 2015, the online, blogging and publication and digital journal and news outlet world has really exploded as well. And just, before, every newspaper that was simply a print newspaper, every single one of them now has one or more websites that they publish to for different localities and for different audiences or whatever it might be. So you've had this massive proliferation of the online world, and they're looking for experts. And so I don't care if you're a plumber or you're a kitchen remodeler or you're an electrician or you're a doctor or an attorney or, a chiropractor, it doesn't matter. Everyone in a local world needs experts like that, is looking for experts like that. And so why not lean on an agency who understands the benefits of press releases and understands the benefits of building authority and expertise? That's, we get into EAT, and we talk about that. When I talk about this with our agencies, is that a big part of the underlying strategy behind our platform is helping to generate EAT signals. We talk about that a lot. In fact, Google revealed this last year that EAT is a part of every search query. Literally, one or more of their algorithmic systems is touching on eat in the generation of a search query. And so your kitchen remodelers, your home remodelers need to position themselves as experts in their industry. And that's the kind of helpful, expert, authoritative content that'll get picked up. And it just needs to be written with quality and helpful ways, and be, I think, the way that you use your headlines and your sub headlines is often ways how you strategically position yourself or that company that you're representing for you as the agency, how you represent that person, that client, that remodeler as the expert in their industry.
Oh, for sure. And, the funny thing is, we've been doing things with journalists for years, well before press releases for SEO became a thing. I mean, I can remember 5, 6, 7 years ago using Harrow. And I mean, help a reporter out. Listen, that's what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Is, if you find someone who will take your quote and they'll put it in the press, that's a big signal. And one of the great things about using press releases is it's not just about links, it's about signal generation.
Correct.
So many people get confused, I think, with, oh, well, where are you getting me links? And, is it a do follow link? And, going back to, I mean, working with major enterprise companies like I have in the past, I know it's not just about links. It's about the signal generation. It's about the mentions. If you can get your name mentioned in a major periodical, Google's going to pick that up, and they're going to identify the entity. They can identify you as an entity, and they're going to make those connections. So it's not always just about, hey, can I get a link? The press release may get you an intro to somebody who will then mention you in a much larger publication. Maybe you don't get a link, but you're going to get a signal, and that's just as important, I think.
100%. Yeah, there's multiple categories of signals that any company needs to be paying attention to. And so agencies who are doing SEO, branding, reputation, anything that's in the digital world, they need to be paying attention to these all these different categories of signals that ultimately influence how or what appears in the search results. And obviously, if we're a home remodeling company, we want, if somebody searches for our company name, number one, I want to dominate the entire page of results. I expect to do that. Like, I want to completely control everything that's being said about me online as a company. And that means controlling all of page one, because once you control all of page one, that's pretty much that's like going to cover 99% of what's being said about you online, because
you go to page 2 all the time, don't you? And
right.
Page 3.
Exactly. So, that's job number one from a digital standpoint, is when we launch as a company, is we got to control all of page one as soon as possible. And then next, we want to start to appear for relevant keywords that people and our target audience are going to search for. And we know factually and data-driven, it's that Google dominates 90% of the search results or of the online landscape, right? So the players like Yelp and all these other directories and all that, they're all fighting for the less than 10% of the overall search market.
Yeah, for sure. And and obviously, the more signals you generate and the more mentions you get and all of that, it's going to help your Google ranking. It's going to help the local 3-pack getting into those maps. But let's take it a step further here. Like, I mean, how do you see the role of social media? How that plays into promoting press releases? And how that plays into building online visibility and authorship.
Yeah, I think social media should be the place to share the links of the articles, the content that you have for your audience, and that should include some of those press releases. But like you mentioned, there's blog articles, and that's part of our strategy as well. In our white label agency, is we deploy a blog article and then do a press release about the blog article, and then we're trying to build topical authority within that, that topical keyword cluster, whatever that for that, if it's a home remodeler, then it's, for all their home remodeling keywords. And so, you've got to definitely build topical authority and using press releases. And so number one, what I'm getting to here is that content should reside originally on the website, right? And then social media should be used to leverage and share more about what's on your website, right? And because if you can get that referral traffic to the press release, or that referral traffic from Facebook to your blog article, then your social signals are really going to matter. Social is really low on the totem pole in terms of overall influence on search results. Google social signals is really just kind of low. So, but the referral traffic and the engagement traffic that you can get from social is very high. And so that's where the two can converge.
It's interesting to say that, because one of the techniques, or one of the things that I think we worry about as SEO is the link spam update, and how is Google going to look at, all these links pointing to your site. And one of the techniques that I have adopted, and I think you actually might be the one who preached this from the beginning, is don't link to your site in these press releases. Find a tier one, Facebook business page. Find something, a Google site, a Google entity stack, something like that then can link to you, and then take these press releases and power those up. So I think that it's not necessarily that the signals that social is creating is so important, but how can you leverage the whole ecosystem so that you're creating kind of that whole network?
That's the key. And because the game of SEO became much more holistic than purely content on a page and links to that page. That changed back between 2011 and 2015 in a major way. Here's what happened in those 4 years or so. Google Places came out. Right, it was Google Places long ago, which is now Maps, and now it's GBP, your Google listing. But that Places came out like in 2011. With Places, Maps became this whole advent of local and this whole shift to local. The review ecosystem blew up. So everything from Google reviews to Yelp to every kind of other review site, there's hundreds of them out there now today, right? So you had the review ecosystem blow up. You had the directory listing ecosystem become something of a phenomenon in those same 4 years, with Google Places really launching that. And then at the same time, you had the explosion of Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn. All of those social platforms exploded almost in those same 4 or 5 years. And so all of a sudden, the online presence of a company went from having a website to having a website, to having listings and having reviews and review sites, and then having, a really important Google listing over here that had like its own ecosystem unto itself. And then all these social platforms and the other social accounts that you could have a presence on. And so the algorithms, or the search systems within the algorithm, really exploded to understand and to comprehend and to measure all of these new data points that are possible for a company. And so if your company just simply sat back in 2010 and left it like it was and just simply had a website, while all these other competitors now have directory listings and reviews and, all this social accounts and photos, and man, you've got left behind, right? And so the algorithm now has accounted for all that. And so if you as an agency, that's what we focus on doing, right? Is we focus on holistic signal generation, and we leverage press releases and the authority that we get from all these news sites to generate ranking signals. But to your point, we can intertwine social, and we can intertwine all sorts of other vehicles to really make this a very, very powerful holistic set of signals, where digital PR is a good fundamental core component of that.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And so many of my clients, when they come to us and we say, well, give us your list of socials. Oh, here's my Facebook page. Yeah. That's not your list of socials. What are your citations? Well, I have Yelp. And a lot of people, I think they know the big players, and they think that's all there is. And there's a lot more to it. And I think the more you build out content through press releases, and the more you build out content that's shareable on social and all these different places, you're just giving yourself so many more opportunities to get found and to, as you say, to capture, page one of the SERPs. Mm-hmm. But with all that in mind, let's talk about for a minute, like, what are some of the emerging trends that you're seeing right now? What are some of the best practices in the world of press releases and media outreach relative to using them to improve the Google ranking itself?
EAT probably is it has been. I've been talking about EAT now for 4 years. But eat got changed. They added another E to eat. So it was EAT for experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Excuse me. And now we've added a new leading E on for experience, and then expertise, and then authoritativeness and trustworthiness. So they've kind of added on experience onto expertise and distinguished the two. And I see the distinguishment that Google made. I don't know if they just wanted to also, I think, make the acronym a little bit more unique than, the verb, we all eat, every day. So now EEAT is the acronym, but, structuring your content, positioning your company as the expert, the authority, in an industry is really, really important. And you do that through content. You can do that through written content. You can do that through video content like we're doing today. You can do that through audio content like a podcast. You can do it through image content. Really, you should use all mediums because we're all, as human beings, we all learn a little bit differently. And so the more mediums of content that you use in your overall content marketing strategy and even inside of your press release strategy, the better.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to bring that up because so many people, when they think of press release, they think, well, press release is text. That's something, that you would find in a newspaper, right? Or maybe a digital journal. But, when we create press releases for our clients, there's always a video. If it's going to be a press release about a blog post that was done, hey, XYZ company wrote this great piece of content about how to, why refacing cabinets is trending right now. And then what we'll do is we'll create a video of that blog and we'll embed that in. And then, you might want to look at, well, where are other signals you can grab? How about images? Well, did you post it on Google Business Profile?
Right. Yep.
And pull that in, looking at even, like you said, the podcast. And there's so many different sources of media and people consume content in different ways that I think that it's important to try and figure out what is your audience looking for? How does your audience consume the content? And I'd be willing to bet it's not the same.
Yeah. And really in this omni-channel world, businesses need to be omni-channel. Like, just because you don't think you might pick up a client from Instagram, well, maybe you will. And maybe it's just the overall compilation of what you're doing that really makes a difference. But being in all channels, it makes a difference. I think especially as the older business owners understand that the younger generations are now becoming customers, they're now consumers. Mike, like my oldest is 22. I was on the bleeding edge of technology. Like, I still remember when the PCs were running and had fans you could hear, in other rooms, and they sound like they were jet engines running in the office. I remember the first, cell phones that were, in these cases that were sat in the seat next to you. Were attached with a cord still, but they were somehow mobile. So there was that bleeding edge of technology that I grew up with, but now our kids, they've grown up with it their entire lives. And so now they're becoming consumers. And so if companies don't understand and make that shift to being more omni-channel, just because they think, well, my customers only exist in one channel, like you said, like, well, I got a Facebook page. You've got to broaden your horizons. And so in agencies, you better find an agency that embraces and understands that dynamic and how much it's changed.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the one thing I think we want to touch on before we kind of wrap up here is Lane, you have a company called Signal Genesis. Now, the reason it's called Signal Genesis and not, Press Releases R Us or something to that extent is because you are generating so many different signals in that type of software. So when you're looking at creating a press release or any piece of content for that matter that you're putting on your site, what are the most important signals? And first of all, what are signals to you, and what are the most important ones that I think that our listeners, they want to make sure they incorporate into their content?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. So if the visual that I don't have here because it's just us talking, but is that pie chart of signal categories, and those pie charts just simply change from map pack to organic and weighting. In other words, the categories are nearly identical. In organic, okay, we know we lose the GBP category completely, and so there's a reallocation there. But I definitely focus a lot in the on-page eat category. In other words, I'm looking for ways to demonstrate or document experience and expertise, show authority, and that you're going to do that in the content. And so, we look at proper use of H tags, your section headings, like use your section headings. That is a signal to Googlebot as it crawls that content, as it crawls that page. When it sees that H tag, that is a different signal than just regular paragraph content. We insert images into signals, like you said, videos into those are all different signals, as long as that content is all relevant and related to each other. So we don't want to confuse the bot by injecting, a completely different topic of content, but, with an image or, an audio or whatever it might be, inserting that into content. So as long as it's all related and relevant, obviously the link strategy is still important. Do follow and no follow links are both valuable and important to generate. To me, I always envision and look at links are connections. Whether they're do follow or no follow, they're connections for the bot. They're signals for the bot. And so we always want to have related and relevant links, whether they're no follow or do follow, still make them related. And if they're no follow, I always want to link to more authoritative sources than what I have on my page. And so look for obviously non-competing but authoritative sources there. Those are all different types of signals that are really, really important, that you can generate all within one corpus of content. The other strategy that we've really embraced in the new year, after evaluating everything that Google did last year, was in the terms of helpful content, is establishing topical authority by generating more long-form blog article content, using that as pillar content, and then doing the press release about the pillar content. So I think businesses need to prep themselves to invest more in content, and longer form content to develop more topical authority. We get back to the EAT acronym, right? Authority is one of those key words, the A in there. And topical authority is going to be built much better with longer form content, meaning it's got to be 2,000 to 3,000 words long. Not the days of 500 words here and 400 words there and 750 words there are really over, because the search results kind of prove that out.
I think that's thin content, and I think that the helpful content update last August basically wiped all that out. Anyone who was putting
and duplicate content, obviously.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Well, Lance, I don't really think. I mean, you have kind of dropped some real knowledge bombs on us today, and I think that my listeners have learned a great deal. Even if they're not an agency on their own, and they may not be a client, I think that, go talk to your agencies. If you're working with an agency, talk to your marketing directors about how you can leverage press releases to enhance your SEO. But with all that said, Lane, if somebody did want to get a hold of you, they want to talk to you, how would they get a hold of you? What's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, thank you. So it looks like you have on your ticker down there, the signalgenesis.com, and my LinkedIn profile. I'm on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Lane A. Houk on Facebook. But yeah, I would love to connect with anybody who has questions or things like that. I think what you made the distinction early on was that we're really a signal generation engine, leveraging digital PR as one of the main strategies to generate authoritative signals, so that we can actually rank things online. Because if it doesn't show up on page one from a digital world, like you said, it's pretty much non-existent. And so if you want to enhance your reputation, if you want your reviews to show up on page one, well, then you have to drive more authority to your reviews. And we leverage digital PR and a signal generation engine to do that. At Quantum Agency, you can also look up Quantum Agency. That's our white label agency. But yeah, that's you've got my contact information there too. So thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate all the tips, all the strategy that you kind of dropped on us today. I mean, hopefully we can have you back again sometime soon.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, Mike. Appreciate the time and attention with all your listeners today, and hope that they got some value as well. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, guys, this was Mike Goldstein and Lane Houk with the Crushing It with Kitchen Remodeling podcast. Tune in next week. We're actually going to have a phenomenal session next week. We're going to be talking about EOS with one of the foremost experts, a gentleman by the name of Lynn Askin. Lane, I think you may know him as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'll be great. Awesome.
So, all right, guys, listen, here again, Mike Goldstein, Lane Houk, Crushing It with Kitchen Remodeling podcast. See you again soon.